Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Reactive Horsemanship. I'm Luke Brown. I'm very excited to be with you here today on Training Tip Tuesday. It's the second day of training here in Santan Valley, Arizona, after my trip to Colorado for a few months. And the horse that I'm working with right now behind me, this is Hades. Hades is I guess a middle-aged, a little bit older quarter horse. He's a blue roan quarter horse that came to me. He was in my clinic last year. My mini clinic series. So when you watch the mini clinic series, you might see Hades. In fact, you probably absolutely will see him in some of the videos as we were working with him. His owner just had a hard time getting him to be responsive enough, and when she asked him to do things, and he's naturally a very, very slow, dull horse. Not slow, but he's naturally dull. He takes quite a bit of pressure to get him to do something, especially initially. So what I've been working with Hades this morning is just getting him to be more sensitive, more responsive to my cues. So when I ask him to back away from me, I want him to back away quite quickly and with some energy. And he's very dull and doesn't want to do that. Or when I ask him to move off and move his forequarters over and then start a lunge, he was kind of slow to do that. So we've been working hard on asking lightly and then building pressure to the point where it's quite a bit of pressure until he starts to feel that pressure and be more motivated to move. A lot of horses require pressure to be motivated. And if you're not willing to give enough pressure, then the horse is going to get very, very dull and you'll get exhausted and you'll just end up giving up. And so if I'm trying to get him to do something, let's say I'm on top of him and I'm trying to get him to go forward and I start kicking, let's say that was my mode of getting him to go forward, I squeeze and then I start bumping with my heels and he just won't do it. It won't be long before my legs get exhausted and he'll just learn to be very, very dull and not responsive to going forward. And so what you have to do is find another way to build pressure. And there were like 3 or 4 different things I was going to talk about for Training Tip Tuesday today. And this is the way it's going, and actually wasn't even one of the ones I was planning on, but let's talk about it. And that is building up enough pressure to get your horse to do something. So if you have a really, really sensitive and reactive Arabian horse, it takes very, very little pressure to get them to do anything. And if you put too much pressure on them, they're going to get so jazzed up that they might want to jump out of the round pen or something. I've had horses like that. So you have to temper your pressure depending on the horse's needs and his demeanor and his natural talent. So if he's not naturally talented like Hades at moving off of light pressure, then I have to start light and build my pressure into the point where it's a lot of pressure to get him to be convinced that he needs to move his feet. And with that sensitive Arabian, I have to really temper my pressure down, and I have to be really, really light and not too heavy, because otherwise that Arabian is going to totally overreact. Hades moved into me a little bit, wants to smell me. That's fine for now. He's a good boy. I really enjoy Hades. We're gonna have I have him for a couple months. So towards the end of his training, I'm going to be giving some lessons to his owner and helping her learn how to build that pressure. So you have to be able to understand your horse and understand your horse's needs. Do they need more pressure? How do you get that pressure? Or do they need less pressure? And how do you back off and just give enough pressure that's necessary? Remember, when people ask, well, how much pressure should I give? Whatever is necessary, as little as possible, but whatever is necessary. So with him this morning, there were a couple of times where I put pressure on him, where I actually had to, with a stick and string, spank him on the shoulder quite a bit. 2 or 3 times before he finally moved off and started to go. And then it didn't take 2 or 3 times of doing that then I just raised my hand, asked him to go. Then I started to swing my stick and string, and there he went. He moved off lightly. And it won't be long before I just raise my hand, point with my lead rope, and he's going to just move off in the next couple of days. He's just going to move off nice and lightly. But Hades would never get there if I wasn't willing to put enough pressure on him. And so that's something that we all have to learn, how to put enough pressure, just enough to get the job done, not too much and not too little. And that's for Training Tip Tuesday. I hope you guys, when you're working with your horses, you'll think about that. How much pressure does my horse need? Is he totally overreacting to my pressure? Probably I'm giving too much. Is he just not responding at all to my pressure? I probably have to figure out another way to get more pressure on him to get him convinced to move, and move quickly and lightly. And when in even draft horses, anything from mini miniatures to draft horses, they all need different kinds of pressure. And a draft horse might need heavier pressure to get the job done. But if you are willing to put that pressure on them, and if you learn how to do it and what tools to use, then your horse becomes really light. And even a nice big old draft that was very dull might be very, very responsive to my cues, just a pointing cue, and he might move off nice and lightly. And lightly means he responds quickly and effectively and doesn't delay what I'm asking him to do. He just moves off and does it quickly. And for a draft, that quickly is going to be slower than for an Arabian. So you have to understand your horse and understand their needs as far as pressure goes. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Until next time, be thankful, live with purpose, live with passion, and as always, stay safe in the saddle.